Shall we just call it off today?
What are you talking about? We've come all this way, so just give up. Pete was reluctant to take his checkup today. While I persuaded him, I wondered if he was nervous about a new doctor. As we were discussing, Pete's name was called, and I helped him to the examination room.
Rachel, wait outside for me.
Are you sure?
Just rest while I'm being examined.
With that, I was pushed out of the examination room. I waited in the waiting room, and soon a nurse came and brought Pete back.
Mrs. Perry, please come this way.
Then, for some reason, only I was called by the nurse to a separate room. Well, what's going on? I asked the doctor hesitantly in the separate room.
Go to the police immediately.
What?
If you don't,
I was shocked by the words he uttered. And so, I quickly started moving to act. I am Rachel Perry, a 28-year-old housewife. I have a husband, Pete, and an 8-year-old daughter, Emily. However, Emily and I are not related by blood. This is my first marriage, but Pete is divorced, and Emily is his child from his previous marriage.
Are you sure it's okay? After all, I have a child and I myself.
Pete hesitated. Don't worry about it. I replied with a smile. Pete is blind. He used to see, but apparently he lost his sight protecting his ex-wife during an accident. I met him through work. I draw webcomics, and one day I received a request, could you create something based on this story? It was a novel written by Pete.
I want everyone to know that there are things you can still do, even if you can't see. Besides, I have to work and raise Emily.
The story, filled with his emotions, detailed his life after becoming blind. Moved by his words, I was more than happy to adapt it into a comic.
The author of the novel would really like to meet you.
I received a message from the editor, and we arranged to meet at a cafe. With the help of his daughter Emily, Pete arrived. He smiled gently, a calm presence, and I was quickly drawn to him. I want to be your eyes to help you.
I've wanted to be with you too. Your voice is so comforting.
He told me he fell in love with my voice, and that's how we started dating. Hey, Emily, would you be okay with me being your mom?
Yes.
With Emily's consent, we decided to get married. My parents were concerned about Pete being blind and having a child from a previous marriage.
But if you've decided, we'll support you.
That's right. But remember, you can always rely on us.
In the end, they supported me. They reassured me that they'd always be there to help, allowing me to enter marriage with peace of mind. Emily, dinner's ready.
Thank you very much.
Emily replies politely to me. We've been living together since we started dating, but she hasn't opened up to me yet. Well, it can't be helped. It's not easy to instantly accept a woman, once a stranger, as a mother. I hope she'll come to accept me in time.
Well,
That smells good.
Just as Emily was about to speak, Pete walked in, guided by the wall. Startled, she flinched. Pete, are you okay? The table is this way. I was concerned about Emily, but I needed to assist Pete.
I'm off.
In that moment, Emily had left for elementary school. By the time I turned around, she was gone, and I could only hear the door closing. Sighing, I remained thoughtful.
Something wrong?
Sorry, I was just thinking about how hard it's been to get closer to Emily. At my words, Pete looked a bit troubled. Seeing that, I quickly tried to explain myself. I explained that I understood it wouldn't be an immediate acceptance and believed that it would surely be resolved over time.
Thanks for caring. Maybe Emily is still wary of the idea of a mother.
Julie Kelly, the ex-wife and the real mother of Emily. When she found out Pete was blind, she left him and their daughter behind. Emily was abandoned by her real mother. Emily might be harboring such thoughts and is likely wary of me as I try to become her new mother. That's what Pete suspects.
Sorry, but I ask for your patience over time.
Of course, that's my intention. At Pete's words, I smile, even though I know he can't see it.
Thank you.
Pete said with a smile in return. Shall we have breakfast? Let's eat well and get ready for work.
Sounds good.
We both work from home, but we have separate offices. This way, we keep to our own schedules.
Rachel, are you going to be cooped up in your room all day?
Yeah, I plan to. I'll only come out for meals.
Got it, just don't overdo it.
At his words, I nodded with a smile and headed to my office. I wonder what kind of work Pete is doing. We make it a point not to interfere with each other during work hours. Therefore, I don't know what Pete does during his work time. He used to write books using Braille, but I haven't heard anything about that lately. Well, my earnings are enough for us to live on, so it's not a problem. There must be struggles I can't even imagine. I think it's enough just to watch over him. With a thought, I decided to focus on my work. A few days later, I'm driving with Pete to a hospital that takes several hours to reach.
Rachel, I know you're busy, but thank you.
Don't worry about it. I just want to help you. Honestly, it would be better to go to a major hospital closer to home. However, Pete insists on this particular hospital.
There's a childhood friend of mine working here as a doctor who knows my situation well.
Pete reconnected with his childhood friend during an accident when he was brought to this hospital. Since then, she's been very supportive, even after his ex-wife Julie left him and their daughter behind.
That's why I've decided she should be the one to see me.
The doctor is a woman?
Yes,
I had always assumed this childhood friend was a man. Finding out she was a woman made me feel a bit uneasy. Even though it's just a medical consultation and their relationship is strictly doctor-patient. The fact that he goes out of his way to see a female childhood friend for hours bothers me. What kind of person is this childhood friend?
she's kind. She gets along well with her husband.
Knowing she was married put me at ease. Married people are less likely to do anything inappropriate. We then entered the hospital together.
Is this the first time we meet Mrs. Perry? I'm Anna West, Pete's attending doctor.
Anna introduced herself with a gentle smile. She was very beautiful and definitely seemed kind.
Being a wife can be tough, and adjusting to a new lifestyle can be tiring. I'm here to listen if you ever need to talk.
I felt ashamed for almost being jealous. What a reliable, kind person. I had such an impression of her.
Shall we exchange contact information?
When Anna suggested it, I happily agreed. However, that might have been a mistake. Oh, a message from Anna. That night, a message from her appeared on my phone.
Are you and Pete really doing okay? Pete has it tough. You need to be strong.
What is this? The content was puzzling. Not something I expected from the doctor I met earlier in the day. I consulted Pete without thinking.
She's always been overly protective, trying to be a big sister to me. That's probably why she sent such a message.
According to Pete, she has always acted like Pete is my responsibility. She was very worried when he remarried, especially because of Julie's situation. That might explain why she was a bit cold to me.
If she sees I'm living happily, she'll probably be reassured.
Then I better make sure we are happy, I said with a laugh.
That's right.
Pete laughed along. Emily watched us, seemingly wanting to say something. Emily, is something wrong?
Nothing.
When I asked Emily, she glanced briefly at Pete and shook her head.
I'm going to bed early.
She then went to her room.
I wish Emily would smile a bit more.
I overheard Pete mutter. I turned to him, and Peter turned his head. Seeing him like this, I felt a slight discomfort. Can you tell Emily's expression?
Yo, we're family after all. I can tell by the sound of her voice.
Pete said, smiling. It makes sense. After 8 years together, he might indeed sense her mood from her voice alone. But why could he respond to me turning around silently? Just a coincidence?
Something wrong, Rachel?
No, it's nothing. Pete asked with concern, possibly sensing my distress or wondering why I had fallen silent. To him, I shook my head. I'm probably just overthinking it. I convinced myself of that.
Well, Rachel?
On a rare day off, surprisingly, Emily initiated a conversation. Surprised, I managed to keep a smile on my face so she wouldn't notice. What's up?
This. When Dad isn't around.
She handed me a piece of paper. I took the paper from her.
Please make sure Dad doesn't see this.
She left hurriedly. I heard the front door close, so she must have gone out. Probably to a friend's house, as she mentioned earlier. What's this? On it was a certain number.
Rachel, has Emily already left?
As I pondered the meaning of the number, Pete called out to me. I quickly hid the paper in my pocket. Yes, she's already gone.
It seemed a bit hurried.
Isn't that more childlike? I hope she can act that way in front of me someday.
That would be good.
Pete chuckled at my words. He didn't seem to notice what I had hidden. What's up with you, Pete? Aren't you off today? Typically, Pete rests until nearly noon on his days off. I hadn't expected him to be up this early.
I was thinking, if it's not too much for you, maybe we could go for a walk together.
Pete invited me with a gentle smile. That sounds nice. I want to feel refreshed.
You're such a hard worker, Rachel. Just don't overdo it.
Pete probably thinks I'm busy with work. But it's not work that makes me tired. It's the messages from Anna that are tiring me out.
Don't bother Pete.
Since then, her messages have kept coming. It's okay. We're supporting each other. At first, I replied, but as the messages became daily, I've started to ignore them. It's been a while since we went for a walk, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
During the walk, I memorized the number Emily had given me and disposed of the paper, hoping I wouldn't need to use that number. A few days later, it was time for Pete's regular checkup, and I drove him to the usual hospital hours away.
Isn't off today.
Yes, she's caught that contagious disease that's going around.
The difference this time was that Anna was off. However, there were other competent doctors, so we saw one of them instead. It was good that our long trip wasn't wasted. I thought so, but Pete seemed to feel differently.
If she's not here, maybe we should call it a day.
What? Pete suddenly started talking, and I turned around without thinking. What are you talking about? It's just a routine checkup. We have to go through with it. Besides, we've come all this way. Let's make the most of it. Hearing that, Pete made a face of displeasure. I soothed him and made him sit down in the waiting room chair.
Can't we just skip it today?
What are you saying? We're already here. Just give up. He was particularly reluctant about the checkup today. While I persuaded him, I wondered if he was nervous about a new doctor. Then Pete's name was called, and I helped him as we headed to the examination room.
Rachel, wait outside for me.
Are you sure?
Just take a rest while I'm getting examined.
With that, I was pushed out of the examination room. As I waited in the waiting room, Pete soon returned with a nurse.
Mrs. Perry, this way, please.
For some reason, I was the only one called by the nurse and was taken to another room. Well, is there something wrong? In the separate room, I cautiously asked the doctor.
Go to the police right now.
What?
If you don't, you'll end up being used and then discarded.
I was stunned by the words he uttered. And to act immediately, I started moving. After a while, Pete contacted me on my phone.
Rachel, where on earth did you go?
Me? I'm at the police station now with Emily and Julie. Pete, taken aback by my words, remained silent for a moment.
Why?
He murmured in a faint voice. Dr. Watson told me about your truth. At that time, the person who told me the truth was a Dr. Marcus Watson.
Pete can see.
What are you saying?
Moreover, he's not the kind-hearted person you think he is.
Dr. Watson, who had called me in, told me this. His words honestly left me bewildered.
I understand it's hard to believe, but haven't you ever had any suspicions yourself?
As he said this, what came to my mind was Pete's recent behavior. He reacted immediately to my actions, even though he was supposed to be blind. He moves around our familiar home without any help and gets dressed perfectly. What bothers me the most is his relationship with Emily. Emily is always conscious of his gaze, and whenever I talk to her, Pete quickly intervenes. It's as if he's monitoring her movements. There are indeed some worrying signs.
He's showing you a false persona. He's conspiring with Dr. West to deceive you.
Indeed, if Pete's blindness were a lie, it would be odd for Anna not to notice. Perhaps she's been helping him because they're childhood friends?
Anna and Pete are having an affair.
What? It seems Anna was helping Pete not just because they are acquaintances, but because they are in a relationship. The more I heard, the more I learned that their affair began around the time of Julie, and she had realized it. Since Julie was a nurse, she had consulted more closely with Dr. Watson and others about it.
Just as Julie was about to confront them, I heard that Julie and Pete were in an accident.
Those words gave me an awful feeling. I hate to think it, but
I believe Pete was involved in causing that accident.
Dr. Watson told me firmly.
Afterward, she went back to her hometown, and we've lost contact. I hear that Emily was taken in by Pete.
Yes, she is actually living with me now.
It seems likely that Pete took in Emily to assess child support and to gauge how much truth she knows.
He probably came to check on me while I was talking to you because of that situation. Emily must have sensed it too, which is why she kept her distance from me and tried to escape from Pete. Honestly, I can't believe it, but there are parts that I do understand.
I wish we could get in touch with his ex-wife, but it seems she's changed her contact information.
His words reminded me of a number Emily had given me. Actually, Emily gave me a certain phone number, and so I decided to call that number to find out the truth. As I expected, it was Julie who answered the phone. When I told Pete this, he fell silent. Ignoring Pete, I continued the conversation. It seems she was under surveillance from your parents. Still, she wanted to keep in touch with her daughter, so she gave Emily a contact number for a phone you guys didn't know about. Emily herself doesn't have a smartphone, and since Pete is watching the landline, she couldn't use it. I was the only one she could likely contact. That's why Emily gave me the phone number. Being a nurse, she's very observant. She found a time when your parents' surveillance was lax and escaped.
What are you doing?
Pete's voice was irritated like I had never heard before. It seems his true nature had been revealed. I immediately contacted Emily's school, and now we are all at the police station. A mother and daughter are having an emotional reunion right in front of me. Seeing them together almost made me cry.
Stop meddling.
What's meddling about this? I did what any decent person would do.
Thank you so much.
Both Julie and Emily told me this, crying. What I felt then was intense anger. Anger at the selfish reasons for separating a mother and daughter, at the deceit committed for personal gain. And the novel that had moved me was all based on lies. Knowing this fact, I was so filled with anger and shock that I went numb. She has evidence that your parents confined her, and if we have Dr. Marcus Watson's medical report, we can prove that the disability benefits you were receiving because you are blind are fraudulent.
Why would you do that? Weren't you enjoying our life together?
Indeed, I had felt happiness in our life together. Above all, I married Pete because I loved him. Yes, and you were laughing at me, weren't you? With that, Pete fell silent again. Before going to the police station, I stopped by our house and peeked into his office. I thought maybe I would find evidence of infidelity. What I found was, you were not working at all and were just teaming up with Anna to make a fool out of me.
That's
The message described me as obtuse and naive, easy to manipulate.
Why did you choose such a woman?
for the money.
I was chosen because as a webcomic artist, I was making good money. You thought it was simple to move me with your novels. I was really underestimated, wasn't I?
It can't be helped.
Pete said. What can't be helped? I pondered this. He started talking without being asked.
I really didn't want to do this, but I desperately needed the money. Besides, the only person I truly love is Rachel.
Do you think I can believe that? You even plan to get rid of me?
What? You sir that too?
Yes, besides the messages with Anna, he had made arrangements to eliminate me. Pete, who had been living a luxurious life without working by taking alimony from his ex-wife. He couldn't forget such a lifestyle and was looking for a new source of income. It was me. As a webcomic artist with earnings and working from home, it was easy for Pete to keep an eye on me. Make it look like an accident once you got bored of me. Is it right?
That was just a joke. I wasn't serious.
It didn't seem like a joke to me. That's why we all rushed to the police. I went to the police fearing for my life and to expose the fraud by Pete and Anna. Emily was there to be protected from Pete, and Julie was filing a complaint for the defamation spread by her previous confinement and lies. It's over for you. The police are on their way to your place now.
Damn it.
Pete muttered in panic at those words.
It's no use running away.
I heard Dr. Watson's voice, indicating Pete had failed in his attempt to flee. It looks like it's over. I hung up the phone after hearing the police's voices. The police were likely heading to Anna's place, who was recuperating at home, and to his parents' place as well. It's all right now, I assured Emily.
Thank you for letting me see my mom.
She replied with a beaming smile. Seeing her smile for the first time made me very happy. Later, I heard that Emily and her mom really went back to Julie's parents' home. Her parents' home is a plane ride away, making it difficult for Pete to reach them. Leave that man to me. I'll make sure he faces the consequences. I reassured them with those words, and it seemed to give them some peace of mind. Emily and her mom returned home with smiles. Meanwhile, Pete ended up in the care of the police. The plan to harm me had not been executed yet, leading to insufficient evidence. However, the matter of the benefits and Julie's situation was judged as malicious. Pete was given a prison sentence.
Is that so? That's good to hear.
Today, I met with Dr. Watson to report about Pete. When I reported it, he smiled in relief. What about Dr. West?
She's been charged for writing false medical reports.
Dr. Watson explained Dr. Anna West's current situation. She seems to have been stripped of her medical license because of this incident. She's been ousted from the hospital, of course.
Also, it was discovered that she had inappropriate relations with multiple patients and was taking supplies home without permission. So the hospital is filing various claims against her.
Furthermore, her husband has been informed of everything, and she was divorced without question. Well, she brought it upon herself.
Rachel, you were divorced as well, weren't you?
Yes, of course. My divorce from Pete was successfully finalized. A lawyer mediated between us, and I blocked all contact with him. Thanks to that, I was able to divorce him without any issues.
I'm really glad we could at least help you.
He said that and smiled. It seems he had been regretting not being able to help Julie before. Just as he was grappling with those feelings, he saw me with Pete. Because of that, he had been working behind the scenes, determined to help me this time.
There was no evidence that Anna West and Pete were conspiring together. So I was waiting for the right moment to expose the truth about his eyes.
To see through Pete's lies, I had to examine him first. However, Anna always took care of Pete herself and never let other doctors do it. So, he was waiting for the right opportunity, and finally, it came.
No matter how good his acting was, he couldn't deceive a doctor's eyes.
He said, smiling as if he had accomplished a great feat. I'm really grateful. If you hadn't told me the truth that day, I might not be in this world right now. I said, expressing my heartfelt thanks.
Thank you for trusting me.
Dr. Watson smiled. Some time had passed. I received a message from Anna on my smartphone. I forgot to block her. Dozens of calls and messages.
My life is a complete mess because of you.
That's what the message said. You tried to take someone's life first. You have no right to complain. Saying that, I didn't reply and just blocked the number. Currently, I'm back at my parents' house. They probably don't know where that is, so I should be safe here for a while.
Rachel, it's almost time for dinner. How's your work going?
Thanks, Mom. I just reached a good stopping point. I smiled and headed to join my mom. Afterward, a piece of news became the talk of the town. It was about the famous webcomic author arrested for fraud. My webcomic had become widespread and was scheduled to be adapted into a TV program soon. However, it was discovered that the entire content was fabricated and the TV adaptation plans were scrapped. As the creator of the webcomic, I faced some criticism. But the editorial staff and the hospital defended me, so now I'm seen as a victim who was deceived. When Pete gets out, he'll find he has no place to go. He had been deceiving everyone around him. Now, he must face the consequences. Years later, after all that had happened, I had already left my parents' house, but that day I had stopped by my parents' house to run errands. Then the doorbell rang. Yes.
It's been a while, Rachel. I've come to pick you up.
Standing there was Pete, who had given up his act of being blind. I was relieved that I checked the monitor before opening the door, and without asking, he started explaining his situation. He was arrested over the issue with Julie, had borrowed money to repay the disability benefits, and his parents had moved because they were shunned by the neighbors and couldn't return to their own home.
You're all I have left, Rachel. Let's be happy together.
No thanks. I flatly rejected his plea. Pete's face showed he was hurt. His attitude, as if he were the victim, is irritating.
It's your fault all of this happened. Don't you think you should take responsibility?
I don't think so. I'm not responsible for any of this. It's all the result of your own actions, isn't it?
But
despite my rejection, Pete still tried to cling to me. Exasperated by his behavior, I was about to call the police.
What are you doing there?
Someone called out to him. Pete turned around in surprise.
you, the doctor.
There stood Dr. Watson with an angry expression, along with my parents.
Did you come to cling to her? That's quite pathetic.
Shut up. If you hadn't meddled in the first place.
I only did what was right, as a doctor and as a person.
While Pete glared, Dr. Watson responded calmly, albeit angrily. Watching them, I called the police.
Your selfishness has inconvenienced many people. If anyone should take responsibility, it's you.
Damn it.
Pete then tried to lash out at Dr. Watson.
Enough already.
However, he was stopped by my dad. Having learned karate in his youth, and since Pete hadn't been physically active due to pretending to be blind for years, my dad easily restrained him.
Damn it, let go.
Pete yelled, but my dad didn't let go, and soon the police I had called took him away.
Rachel, are you all right?
Yes, thank you. After Pete was gone, I answered him with a smile. With that, he smiled, relieved.
He sprinted over as soon as he saw that guy.
Really, I feel safe leaving her with him.
My parents watched us with amused smiles. Yes, in fact, we are engaged. After the incident with Pete, we found we shared a lot in common, and after his confession, we started dating.
Yes, I'll take care of her.
He nods in assurance.
We trust you.
My parents nod in agreement.
Well, now that we've finished moving the stuff, let's celebrate in our new home.
Actually, today I had come to help my parents move. It was intended as a measure against Pete, but it was a little too late. Well, I got to see my fiancé's impressive side, and next time Pete comes, he'll experience the despair of finding no one here. Let's go.
Right.
As I nod, he offers his hand. I take it with a smile. Some time has passed since then, and today is my second wedding.
Rachel, you look beautiful.
Thank you, Emily. Emily and her mother have come especially for the ceremony and are showering us with blessings. I couldn't become her mother, but just seeing her full smile is enough. Enjoy today.
Yeah. Congratulations on your marriage.
To her smile, I respond with a heartfelt one of my own.
Don't splurge with your son's money. Poor old folks, just go home.
During a vacation to celebrate my 60th birthday, Karen hurled these unbelievable words at my husband and me. My anger reached its peak when I heard what she said. "Shall we go home then?"
Yeah.
She probably didn't think we would actually leave. Leaving a bewildered Karen behind, we decided to go back home, leaving her in a foreign land. We are going to show her hell. My name is Alice Howard. I am a housewife who turned 60 this year. My husband and I, married for 30 years, were invited by our son Tommy to go on a trip to Maldives.
Mom and Dad, I never got to do anything parent-honoring for you. This is just a small token of my gratitude. Let's go together. No holding back.
I have 6 children, and Tommy, as the eldest son, has been supporting us. I worked part-time until our 4th child was born, spending my days overrun with childcare and housework, with just a few minutes to myself each day. Of course, there was never any time alone, and I can't even remember having a fun coffee time with friends since the kids came along. During this time, our son Tommy, since starting elementary school, took the initiative to help me and also took care of his siblings. With my husband busy as a company employee, Tommy's support was invaluable to me. I felt an immense gratitude towards him. As the hectic days went by, Tommy grew up, got married, and left the house, followed by the other children moving out for marriage or to the big city. It was just my husband and me left at home. While reminiscing about those noisy days, Enjoying coffee with my now retired husband, Tommy came home for a visit after a long time. He had something important to discuss, which turned out to be this delightful invitation, and my husband and I were overjoyed. However, this conversation would lead us to an unbelievable situation.
Why did you even invite your in-laws to the trip?
These were the words of Tommy's wife, Karen. As Tommy, who brought his wife home, enjoyed a family dinner for the first time in a while, Karen called him out to the hallway during the discussion about the upcoming Maldives trip. Worried, I peeked to see what was happening and saw Karen confronting Tommy. Karen, with a terrifyingly harsh tone, was getting up in Tommy's face, giving him the evil eye.
It makes sense, doesn't it? The trip is also a celebration of the folks' 60th birthdays. Why wouldn't we invite them?
Why should we have to pay for them? If you're inviting them, they should at least pay their own way. Your mother does nothing but lays around at home. It's outrageous to think we should cover for such a slothful person.
Karen was a nurse, and Tommy was in the position of a doctor. They had no children, and she despised me for being a stay-at-home mom raising kids.
Excuses like no time to work don't fly with me. Time is made. People who can't manage their time just say that to escape. I absolutely refuse to spend my money for such a lazy person. I won't allow it.
Her yelling seemed to be aimed at making sure I could hear it inside the room, making my heart ache. I knew I wasn't exactly favored before, but I never imagined I was this disliked. And to think they believed I was a stay-at-home mom because I was lazy, which brought tears to my eyes, is just unbelievable. Yet, Tommy didn't hesitate to defend me against Karen's words.
You haven't raised 6 kids, so what gives you the right to act all high and mighty? Talk about it after you've walked in the same shoes. I respect my mom and am thankful to both of my parents. I'm taking them on this trip no matter what, got it?
To think my son had grown up to value his parents so much. I was deeply moved and cried silently, careful not to reveal my presence to Karen and Tommy. After that day, Karen became more hostile towards me when Tommy wasn't around. She would criticize the taste of my cooking, and during visits home would say things like it smells musty, trying to belittle me with her words. It must have been too much for her to accept that Tommy defended me. Initially, I was downhearted and wondered why I had to endure this, but Tommy's words from that day helped me hold on. However, that changed when Tommy called me, saying he needed to talk.
Sorry for the suddenness. I'm thinking of divorcing Karen.
My husband and I were shocked at the straightforward declaration. When we asked what happened, Tommy showed us 2 photos. In them, a woman who looked like Karen was arm in arm with an unfamiliar man. What's this?
While I was at a medical conference, a colleague sent this to me. Karen meeting up with some guy.
So, Karen is having an affair.
It was a shocking revelation. I might be biased, but I can't see any reason why someone would cheat on Tommy. Financially and looks-wise, there was nothing to complain about from a third-party perspective. Even relatives begged to have their daughter marry Tommy, as he was such an accomplished son. It's unbelievable that Tommy would be cheated on. I doubted my own ears hearing such an incredible story.
After we get married, I found out Karen had always been quite the player. She held back for a while to marry me, but it seems like she went back to her old ways when my business trips increased. At home and even at work, her lack of motivation has become too obvious recently. Honestly, I don't have the confidence to continue with her.
Hearing this, while he gripped the hem of his trousers with a pained expression, made my heart tighten. From a parent's perspective, he was always contributive at home. He grew into a kind son who understands people's pain, which to me is an invaluable treasure. You could stand seeing such a son hurt like this.
That's why I'm thinking of getting a divorce, but this alone isn't enough to confront her with it. So, I need your help.
With that, Tommy made a certain proposal to us. Though shocked by what he suggested, if it would help Tommy, both my husband and I agreed to his plan. We decided to pull one over on Karen, so we came up with a plan. Time passed, and on the day of the trip, my husband George and I drove to Tommy's house to pick up Karen.
Thanks for picking me up, George.
She came out of the house wearing a wide brim hat and a white dress, clearly trying to play the part of a scheming woman. In fact, Karen had been making moves on my husband for a while now. Probably because his birth family was wealthy. Her eagerness for money was blatantly obvious. Whenever Tommy wasn't around, she would sidle up next to my husband, even once lying about getting carsick just to take my seat in the front of the car. Later, when I asked Tommy about it, it turned out to be a complete lie. She never had motion sickness. At that time, there was no reason to doubt her, so we just took her at her word, but now it's different. I'm certain that everything I had suspicions about was a lie, and both my husband and I are on high alert. However, showing our hand would ruin the plan. Today is our supposed celebration trip, but it's really to carry out our plan. We can't let her suspect a thing. My husband and I made sure to act as usual.
Tommy said he'll come later, so he asked us to go ahead to the destination. He's busy with work, it seems.
Landing at the airport and going through the procedures, Karen muttered her words with a bored expression. She probably wanted to flaunt having my husband and Tommy to herself, making me jealous. Whenever it was just the four of us, Karen acted in ways that seemed designed to stoke my jealousy. Looking back, I can see so many of these behaviors now. Why didn't I notice them before? Well, I did notice, but I think I just suppressed it. Thinking about all the hardships Tommy went through, I feared my feelings would interfere with his happiness, so I kept silent. But I don't need to hold back anymore. Standing confidently next to my husband, Karen wrapped her arm around his with a sullen expression.
I've never been on an overseas trip with my father, so I'm thrilled to be traveling with my father-in-law, George. You're making up for the memories I couldn't have with my father.
With a cackling laugh that seemed almost cartoonish, she flaunted a smug smile at me, then clung to my husband's arm, pushing her chest against him. My husband looked more annoyed than pleased by her actions, but Karen seemed oblivious to his discomfort. She was eagerly watching to see how I would react. But I maintained a firm demeanor, silently pleading with my husband to endure it. As we finished the boarding process, we boarded the plane with a tense atmosphere. And soon, in a far-off foreign land, she would face her comeuppance. After a long journey, we arrived at Vienna International Airport, greeted by cheerful flight attendants. Tommy was supposed to guide us, but he was absent due to work. As we wondered what to do next, Karen sweetly sidled up to my husband.
Can't we hire a guide now, George? I only got a little spending money from Tommy, and I don't have much on me.
Despite having a decent income herself, Karen seemed fully expecting to be treated by us. I guess there's also the matter of making sure my husband brought extra cash. His sigh of disbelief revealed his clear view of her sordid intentions.
Karen, I hate to say this, but we're here because Tommy invited us. You know, trying to make us pay seems a bit off, doesn't it?
I felt a jolt inside. He sounded like a grumpy old man laying on a guilt trip. It was hard to predict how Karen would react to such blunt words. The initial plan was to act upon reaching the hotel, but my husband unexpectedly took the initiative, causing me a bit of panic.
What are you saying? Do you want me, who didn't bring much money, to hire a guide?
We're questioning the expectation that you're entitled to our hospitality. Alice and I are here at Tommy's invitation. We heard he's taking care of the expenses, so we didn't bring much cash either. Assuming we'll just cover for you doesn't seem right.
Upon hearing
A lecture from both of you. I don't need that. Acting like it's natural for me to treat you, but you're relying on Tommy's money for this trip too. Thinking you wouldn't have to spend a penny because you're being celebrated, right? You're no different, so I don't want your high and mighty lectures.
Looks like she's done pretending to be nice to us. She suddenly changed her attitude, stood arrogantly, looked down on my husband and me, and said something condescending in a mocking tone.
Don't live it up on your son's dime. Poor old folks, just go home.
At her words, my anger peaked. Shall we go home then?
Yeah.
Without taking the bait, I calmly spoke to my husband, but then Karen, flustered, interjected.
Talking big when you don't even have a return ticket. What's the point? That's hilarious.
Actually, she had only been given the one-way ticket by Tommy. She was explicitly told to be prone to losing things and is unreliable by Tommy, so she reluctantly settled for a one-way ticket, only to find out she couldn't return to the US without him. She ended up in a situation. But we are supposed to be unaware of her situation. If we were to find out about this pathetic situation, it would undermine her dignity. That's probably why all she could muster were these tough words. However, we already knew the story from Tommy. And we had already received something from him. No return ticket. What made you say that? I then pulled out the return plane tickets, including my husband's. Karen was dumbfounded. Speechless, her mouth agape. We do have our return tickets, you know.
Why do you guys have tickets?
Why, it's normal to hold on to your own ticket, right, or what? Don't tell me you didn't get a return ticket from Tommy. I couldn't help but sneer at her, showing that Tommy trusted us more than her, a sweet revenge for all the taunts. Even for someone like me, a stay-at-home mom she looked down upon, to mock her over such a trivial matter must be unbearable for her pride. While feeling somewhat petty, considering everything up to now, this was nothing. If anything, it was not enough. Watching her turn red with rage, I felt a sense of satisfaction.
No way. Just go home already. Just seeing your faces irritates me.
Her retort, almost like sour grapes, secretly had me holding back laughter. The sight of Karen retreating in frustration was incredibly satisfying. She had mocked others enough. Let her fully taste the misfortune. With that in mind, my husband and I decided to wander around the airport area until our flight back. After leaving Karen behind and returning to the US swiftly, we met up with Tommy at a cafe near the airport, as planned. Seeing us back, Tommy greeted us with a wry smile.
Welcome back, both of you. That quick return flight must have been tiring.
My body's all stiff, even in first class. It's stuff on the old bones.
Sorry, Tommy, for making such a quick return, especially in those nice seats.
I should be thanking you. Sorry for pushing you so hard, okay?
Stop it. I'm still young at heart.
But I was worried, you suddenly starting a fight with Karen at the airport, doing something unplanned. I didn't know what to do.
I just couldn't take it anymore. I had such a strong dislike for that flirty act of hers.
As my husband apologized with a rueful laugh, Tommy's phone started ringing. From Karen.
Yeah. It's been ringing off the hook since hotel check-in time. I bet she panicked when she found out her hotel reservation get canceled without her knowing. She's such a princess who can't do anything on her own.
Tommy scoffed at his continuously buzzing phone in silent mode. It was my first time seeing this dark side of him, and I made a mental note never to anger him.
Thanks to you guys, I gained a lot here and think I can finally divorce her. Really, thank you. Sorry for involving you in such a mess during your milestone celebration.
Don't be silly. In a way, this is a celebration for me too, knowing you won't have to put up with that anymore. During the few hours until Karen returned to the country, we enjoyed some rare quality time, just the family. Then the moment of truth arrived.
Tommy, what on earth is this all about? Explain yourself.
After receiving an email from Karen saying she was on the plane, we headed to the airport. As soon as she stepped off the plane and saw me, she let out a roar that could echo throughout the airport. Realizing this was too conspicuous, we quickly got her into the car and drove to their house. Once home, Karen noticed something was amiss.
What is this? What's going on here?
She realized the house looked unusually bare.
Let's explain things in order. Shall we go to the living room first?
Ignoring the bewildered Karen, we proceeded inside. While thanking Tommy for the coffee, we quickly moved to the main topic.
Karen, we need to talk.
Before that, explain. What were you thinking, doing such a thing? Because of you. It's been one disaster after another. I couldn't get into the hotel, and I had to communicate with gestures because I couldn't ask people anything. Do you know how many times I was given the wrong directions? I walked so much I thought I was mountain climbing, and I'm exhausted. My legs are sore from the muscle pain. And then the return flight was in the cheap economy seats. Economy. I never thought I'd have to pawn my luxury watch.
As her shrill voice became too much to bear, my husband and I exchanged incredulous looks. Apparently, she had pawned her watch to get some money. Amid this, Tommy watched her intently, and after she finished her tirade, he quietly spoke.
Is that all you wanted to say?
What did you say?
Karen's eyebrows twitched in surprise, probably expecting an apology from Tommy, but his unexpected response took her aback. It must have been the first time she saw Tommy. You had always been kind and indulgent, looking at her so defiantly. She glared at him, trying to intimidate, but Tommy met her gaze unflinchingly.
So, you have no idea why you're in this situation?
Tommy's probing words seemed to finally make her question. Karen started speaking with a cold look and a haughty attitude, crossing her legs.
Of course, who leaves their wife stranded abroad? What did I do?
She's sticking to her story. Nobody knows about her affair. She seemed to think so. Tommy sighed in exasperation, then showed her 4 photos. I didn't miss how her face went pale instantly.
Let's see if you recognize this.
Presented with undeniable photographic evidence of her affair, Karen faltered. There were 2 photos added there, showing Karen and the man she cheated with after their affair, and when my husband and I saw them, we looked at her with contempt. We looked at her as if she were something vile, putting distance between us.
You've been wasting my money for a while, and I noticed. But I also knew it's true that I made you feel lonely. I'm a workaholic, often choosing my job over family, so I said nothing. But I never imagined you were financing this man.
Tommy had hired a detective to discreetly investigate Karen until this trip. It was revealed that her lover was a gigolo, and she was his top-paying client, giving him the biggest tips. Their relationship had developed into a romantic affair, clearly crossing the line between a client and a service provider. Tommy found out that when he was away on business trips, he had been staying in their house for several nights.
You said you had a terrible time in Maldives. Then what about this? You deceived me, laughed behind my back, and even complained about me to your lover, calling me nothing but money, useless. I've confirmed it myself by meeting with him directly. I even have the audio of that conversation.
You met him?
Of course. I figured your side of the story would be full of lies. I got everything out of him first.
He then showed her what appeared to be a voice recorder, and Karen seemed to resign herself to the situation. She started to profusely apologize to Tommy.
I'm sorry, my dear. Please forgive me. It was just a moment of madness.
A moment of madness. I inadvertently reacted to her words. So, a moment of madness makes it okay for you to hurt Tommy like that. Tommy had always shielded me from her, caring for me. I knew how hard he had worked to balance his job and household duties for the sake of his family. Her words, betraying him so casually, made something inside me snap. How could you think an apology would suffice after all the pain you caused Tommy? My eyes welled with tears, more from anger than sadness. My husband comforted me, wrapping an arm around my shoulder and gently hugging me. Watching us, Tommy then presented her with divorce papers.
I've heard about everything you did to Mom and Dad. I have no intention of continuing with you. This house will be sold. Pack your things and leave immediately. No matter if you deny the divorce, I am determined to proceed with mediation to separate from you. What you've done is now coming back to haunt you. Just accept it.
And so, our family cut ties with her. Even afterward, Karen kept pleading with Tommy, but he had run out of patience and coldly rebuffed her, finding her cries annoying, and decided to move back to our home until the divorce was finalized. The emptiness of their house was due to Tommy having movers transfer his belongings back to our place. Seeing everything being efficiently handled, I was impressed by how sharp he always was. As Tommy predicted, the divorce proceedings went to mediation. Karen, who had repeatedly denied wanting a divorce, couldn't escape it after photos of her affair and the lover's testimony came to light. She was even ordered to pay alimony, and the divorce was finalized. She came to our house several times, wanting to meet Tommy, but I turned her away at the gate. While apologizing for her disrespect towards me, she begged to speak to Tommy. However, I was furious. Stop taking us for granted. I will never forget what you've done, no matter what. Don't ever show your face to our family again. With that, I called the police, and after that, she never appeared before us again. Finally, we regained our peaceful days. Thanks to Tommy's arrangement, we were able to redo our 60th birthday celebration. The whole family gathered, along with our children and grandchildren, for a grand celebration.
Mom, Dad, live a long and healthy life.
While thanking Tommy saying this with a bright smile, I watched over the happiness and growth of the children.
I'm going to remarry the rich doctor. You, an old woman, should raise twins.
Nancy laughed at me mockingly when she said that. The man standing next to her also had a sneering grin on his face. There's no way I could leave the two adorable kids with such people. Are you sure about this? I'd be happy to. If they'll let me, I'd be more than happy to take care of them. Thinking this, I responded with a smile. But please never show your face to me and children again.
Yes, that's fine. I'm not interested in my kids.
Nancy went out laughing. As I glared at her back, that winds ran up to me.
Can we stay here?
Yes, of course. Let's live with Grandma from today on.
Yeah. We want to live with Grandma.
It's unbelievable that anyone wouldn't want such adorable twins. Hugging them, I vowed to make them happy. Then, in the blink of an eye, 15 years passed. Living a peaceful, retired life, that person came to see me again.
Hey, give me my twins back.
I am Susan Johnson, a 60-year-old housewife working in a factory. I have a son, Michael, and a husband who passed away a few years ago. My husband's family has been running the factory for generations, and that's where we met. When I was working diligently, he approached me and we fell in love very quickly. After dating for a few years, we got married. Then I gave birth to Michael.
My dream is to take over Dad's factory when I grow up. So, I want to learn everything I can.
Michael said, "He inherited my husband's kindness and my earnestness, and I think he grew up to be a wonderful kid." Having been around the factory since he was young, Michael was well liked by everyone there.
After I graduate from high school, I want to work at the factory.
What are you saying? Michael respected everyone at the factory and even wanted to start working right after high school. However, our factory is large and has contracts with many major companies, so we're doing well financially. And Michael is smart enough to aim for a top university. As his parents, we hoped he would go to university. We really think you should go to university, given the chance.
No, I want to start working at the factory as soon as possible.
No matter how much we tried to persuade him, Michael was steadfast. It was quite troubling. Then, someone else convinced Michael.
You should go to university, Michael.
It was John Miller, who started working at our factory right after graduating from high school. He was close in age to Michael, and they spent a lot of time together.
Learn what I couldn't teach you. Make this factory even bigger, and make its name known worldwide.
John's words had an impact, and Michael listened. And then, he successfully went on to university. Michael, having studied business in university, used his knowledge to secure new contracts and further expand the factory's success. We believed we could continue to live happily, managing the factory together. We believed so, but just then, my husband fell ill suddenly. He collapsed at the factory and never regained consciousness, passing away shortly after.
From now on, I'll protect both the factory and Mom.
While everyone was engulfed in sadness, Michael, who had grown up, supported me and managed the factory well. Now, Michael is married and the father of twin girls, Maria and Millie.
Hello, Grandma. Grandma, we're here to see you.
You both made it. Good to see you. Take your time and relax. The twins were very lovely. Maria, the older sister, was serious, while Millie, the younger, was kind. They both adored me and hugged me whenever they visited me. I love these twins so much that I no longer felt the sadness of losing my husband.
When are you going to stop working, Mom?
I plan to work as long as I can. I don't want to be a burden to you in the future. Therefore, I was working in the factory. Thanks to that, I've been living fulfilling days. Taking it easy once in a while is good, too. On a day off. Today I had a day off from the factory and was about to do some reading after a long time. Who could that be? Suddenly, the intercom rang. No visitors were scheduled, so I puzzled and checked on the camera. What? Maria, Millie? It was the twins. Surprised, I quickly opened the front door and welcomed them in. What's the matter, you two? Where's your mom? Looking around, I saw no adults. Could it be that these 5-year-olds came here by themselves?
Mom said to go to Grandma's house today. She's too busy to look after us today.
Hearing the details, it seems their mother, Nancy, told them to come to my house and locked them out. It was snowing since the morning and very cold outside. No matter how far you can walk, let only children walk the streets. Were you cold? I'll make some warm cocoa for you.
Yay! We love cocoa. Thank you, Grandma.
As I served that wind's warm drinks, I tried calling Nancy. However, there was no sign of her answering. So, I decided to contact Michael.
What? Maria and Millie are there.
Michael immediately answered the phone, sounding very surprised. He had been on a business trip since last week and was not home. He was due back today, but even if he hurried, he wouldn't arrive until the evening.
I wish I could rush over right now, but it seems impossible from where I am on a business trip. I'm sorry, but could you look after them until I get there?
Yes, of course. I immediately agreed to Michael's request, feeling sorry. I had no plans for the day anyway. Having the day turn into one spent with the adorable twins was actually a delight for me.
Thank you. I'll talk to Nancy myself.
Michael said before hanging up. Feeling the twins' eyes on me, I turned to see them looking somewhat anxious. Let's play together until your dad arrives. Can you tell me what games you like?
Yay! We're so happy to play with you. We want to play games.
For a while, we played games together. Then, Michael called me.
It seems like the phone is turned off, and I can't get in touch with Nancy either.
That's okay. I'll take good care of the twins, so don't rush and take your time getting here.
That really helps. Thanks, Mom.
After ending the call with Michael, I sighed. What could Nancy be up to? At times like this, it would be good to contact her family, but according to Michael, she seems to be estranged from her own family. So, they rarely communicate. It seems unlikely that her family would know anything. Hey, what does your mom usually do? Haven't you heard anything? Not knowing what else to do, I asked the twins.
Mom isn't interested in us. She has someone more important than us.
These words gave me a bad feeling. Could she be having an affair? Maybe it's time to investigate. While considering this, I made sure to keep the twins from feeling anxious.
Thank you for waiting, and for looking after them.
Yay, Dad? Daddy, welcome back.
A few hours later, Michael arrived. Seeing their father, the twins ran to him joyfully. I was comforted by their happy faces and greeted Michael, who looked tired. Did you manage to contact Nancy?
No, not yet. Actually, I'm thinking about the future.
Michael said, seeming deeply concerned.
Depending on Nancy's response, I might need to take the twins and move back home.
You're welcome to come back anytime. I readily agreed to Michael's words. This seemed to ease Michael's expression a bit. Yet, I felt anger towards Nancy for putting him through this. Then, several hours later, as it had gotten completely dark, the doorbell rang.
Well, I've come to pick up my twins.
There was Nancy. I was irritated at her troublesome attitude. Before I could react, an angry Michael confronted her. Nancy, what have you been doing all this time? Clearly, she hadn't expected Michael to be there, her eyes widening in surprise.
Why is Michael here?
Just answer my question.
I was called out by some mom friends and was meeting with them.
Nancy responded reluctantly under Michael's questioning.
Then why didn't you contact us?
My phone battery died.
Nancy dodged Michael's probing with evasive excuses. Michael sighed deeply at her responses.
Sorry for the trouble. Let's go home.
Michael apologized to me and took the unhappy twins back home. The next day, oh, how unusual. I was a bit surprised when I received a call from Nancy and answered the phone.
Listen, Susan, because of your unnecessary meddling, Michael scolded me.
What?
If you had just silently taken care of the twins, there would have been no problem.
Nancy complained without letting me get a word in. I was momentarily taken aback, but then responded. First of all, isn't it your fault for locking out the twins? And at least give me a heads up next time. It was good that I happened to be home this time, but if I had plans and was out, those kids could have been freezing under the cold sky.
What are you talking back to me? This is why I can't stand old women.
Nancy retorted and hung up the phone. What is she thinking? I sighed, frustrated with Nancy's attitude. Then the phone rang again, and it was John's name on the display.
I went on a trip and wanted to give you a souvenir. Do you have time later?
That's lovely. I have time, so please come over whenever. John has always been fond of me, like his mother. He started working at our factory after his parents died in a car accident when he was in high school. Since his parents were my colleagues, I've been looking out for him. It seems Michael also cares for John like his brother.
May I come in? Susan, what's wrong? You look tired.
John asked me anxiously when he came to my house. Yes, a little. Would you mind listening to my story?
Of course.
So, I ended up venting to John. He listened and nodded along appropriately.
That's concerning.
John, after listening, murmured thoughtfully.
I know a detective. I can ask if they can look into it for you.
Really, that would be so helpful.
For me, Susan, you're like my mother, and Michael is like my brother. The twins are like my nieces. I'd do anything for such important family members.
His reassuring smile made me feel confident. A few days after that,
Mom, could you look after the twins this Saturday?
I was asked by Michael to take care of the twins. Despite the tension in his voice, I agreed to his request. Then, on the day, Michael, who looked like he had made a decision, and the twins, who looked sleepy in the early morning, came to my house. What's going on, Michael? Is something wrong? I couldn't help but ask Michael that question.
I'll tell you when I get back. Be good girls, okay?
Michael smiled at the twins and then left. We watched him go until he was out of sight, believing he would return that day.
Daddy has gone. Will he come back soon?
Yes, he'll be back soon. However, Michael never returned to this house again. What? No, that can't be true. Are you sure it was Michael? Michael had an accident at a tourist site and tragically never returned. The following period was incredibly difficult. Please, say it's not true.
Daddy, Daddy, wake up, Daddy.
After losing my son and losing their father, I and the twins cried and clung to Michael's cold body.
Why? Leaving behind such lovely daughters. It's too soon.
John supported us through this time and helped with all the arrangements. The factory staff rushed over immediately, comforting our family, but
what is she doing? Her husband has just died.
Amidst this, Nancy was nowhere to be seen. Even after the funeral, she made no contact and disappeared. Maybe it's better she's not here. I felt indignation at her actions. But without her around, at least I wouldn't have to deal with her disrespectful behavior. While thinking this, I cared for the crying twins, unable to recover. Who could that be? Just when things had finally calmed down a bit, the intercom rang, and I checked the camera. And it was Nancy. Nancy, where have you been all this?
Oh, hi there. Long time no see.
Angered, I opened the door to find Nancy and a flashy dressed man standing there. That's when I realized my bad feeling was right, and my anger turned to cold calmness. What do you want now, and how dare you show your face here?
Well, scary. Oh, this is my boyfriend. He's a doctor and rich.
She didn't mind my cold attitude at all. Nancy boasted about the man with her, smirking in a vulgar manner. Were you cheating on Michael?
It's not cheating. He's the one I really love.
Nancy said, laughing with the man beside her.
So, I have a favor to ask of you, Susan.
What is it?
The twins are in the way of my remarriage, so I don't need them. Can you take them in?
I was furious at her words. What did she just say? Did she say she doesn't want her daughters? I fell silent in an instant. And she went on to say to me,
I'm going to remarry the rich doctor. You, an old woman, should raise twins.
Nancy laughed at me mockingly when she said that. The man next to her also smirked and pleasantly. I couldn't possibly leave the two adorable children with such people. Are you sure? I'd be delighted. If I can take care of them, I'd gladly do so. Thinking this, I responded with a smile. But please, never show your face to me and children again.
Fine by me. I'm not interested in my kids.
Nancy went out laughing. As I glared at her back, the twins ran to me.
Can we stay here?
Yes, of course. Let's start living with Grandma from today.
Yeah. We want to live with Grandma.
It's unimaginable that such adorable twins are unwanted. Hugging them tightly, I vowed to make them happy.
Grandma, we'll come back home early today.
We'll make dinner, so just wait for us.
All right, I'll be waiting. Then, in what seemed like the blink of an eye, 15 years passed. Having retired, I would see off the twins as they energetically set off. We had completely recovered from our past sorrows and were living a normal life. So, what shall we do today? Living such a peaceful, retired life, I was visited by someone. Now an elderly lady, I was spending my days leisurely. The doorbell rang loudly. Who could it be?
Open up. You have the two of them inside, right?
When I asked a visitor through the camera, the person yelled without answering. Seemed like a woman, but unfamiliar. While pondering who it could be.
Hey, give me back my twins.
Hearing this, I finally realized that the woman was Nancy. She had aged and changed so much over these 15 years that I genuinely didn't recognize her. This is too much for me to handle alone. I murmured to myself and contacted some people. They arrived within minutes and surrounded her.
What are you doing here now?
John was the first to shout. He was glaring at Nancy with anger.
What do you mean what? I came to take back my daughters.
Intimidated by John's intensity and the crowd, Nancy still shouted defiantly.
They are my children, so give them back to me.
Her outcry had a reason. She must have seen them on TV. In fact, the twins have become quite sought after on TV. Maria as a popular singer, and Millie as a talented actress. These two are set to co-star soon, and were recently featured as beautiful twins. Nancy likely showed up after seeing this. What about that rich doctor? I asked Nancy. She contorted her face in ugliness.
I dumped that guy long ago.
While shouting, she began to explain the situation, even though no one had asked. The man she brought that day was not a doctor but a con artist. Actually, it was his brother who was the real doctor.
That man was after Michael's wealth.
The man approached Nancy for the money of Michael, who runs a large factory. After Michael's death, Nancy, who received the inheritance, and her boyfriend, who had amassed money by deceiving many women, lived extravagantly for a while. But eventually, his actions came to light, and he was arrested. In addition, the boyfriend was caught using his brother's name, and his brother got angry and disowned him. Nancy, having abandoned her destitute boyfriend, shamelessly returned to our home.
They were my daughters from the start, so I will take them back.
That's out of the question.
That's right. We won't let you touch our beloved girls.
John exclaimed, and everyone from the factory echoed in agreement. Indeed, the twins were precious children raised by all of us at the factory. We had no intention of handing them over to such a woman. Everyone, I have something to say. I spoke on the day Nancy abandoned the twins. I was prepared to raise them, but considering my age, I asked for support from everyone at the factory.
What a woman.
Truly terrible. Susan, leave it to us. We will raise the twins together with everyone at the factory.
Thus, we united to raise the twins, taking turns to care for them, playing and going out together. With everyone's help, the initially withdrawn twins gradually opened up.
You know, we have dreams we want to achieve. We promised Dad too. We'll definitely make them come true.
Eventually, they began to talk about their dreams. Their dream was to become an idol singer and an actress. Hearing this, we all watched TV together to learn, joined them in singing lessons and acting practice, and supported them wholeheartedly. I'm grateful to her for leaving the twins with us. Because of that, they were able to achieve their dreams. Had they stayed with Nancy, they might never have realized their dreams, or even grown up healthy.
And now you show up demanding them back. Who do you think you are?
Be quiet. I am their mother. Those twins have an obligation to support me.
At these words, everyone present showed anger. Which mouth dares to call itself mother? It was at that moment.
Whose mother? We don't have an ugly mother like you.
It was then that a voice was heard. When everyone turned to look, they saw the twins with expressions of disgust.
Maria, Millie, it's been a while, my girls. You've both grown up to be so beautiful.
Nancy approached the twins with a broad smile, but the twins responded with increasingly displeased expressions.
And who's my mother? You treated us like nuisances and locked us out in the cold, didn't you?
And you abandoned us as soon as Daddy was gone, didn't you?
The twins asked in a cold voice. Though they were young at the time, it seemed they clearly remembered their mother's actions.
Well, there were circumstances.
Faced with their words, Nancy was at a loss for words.
We remember everything clearly. How you neglected us.
You betrayed Daddy, and you were the reason Daddy is no longer here.
At these words, Nancy's eyes widened. Michael had long been aware of her infidelity. And on that day, Michael ambushed Nancy and her partner during their affair trip at the tourist site and confronted her. Nancy made excuses even then.
I'll divorce you and take a hefty alimony.
Disgusted with her, Michael attempted to leave. However, panicked by the mention of alimony, the two tried to stop him by grabbing his arm. Michael shook them off, lost his balance, and stumbled into the roadway, where he was tragically hit by a truck.
How did you know?
Nancy, trembling, muttered upon hearing the truth about what happened 15 years ago from the twins.
I was the one who investigated it.
It was John who responded to her. He had desperately searched for evidence to avenge his brother. He managed to find a witness and uncovered the truth through sheer persistence. Normally, this information should have been reported to the police. But by then, the investigation had already been concluded, and without concrete evidence, there was only the witness's testimony. We had no intention of involving ourselves with Nancy anymore and chose to remain silent.
We will never forgive you, and we certainly don't want to support you.
If you still insist on taking us back, then pay all the back child support you owe.
Nancy appeared flustered by these words. We felt joy seeing how much the twins had grown.
What will you do?
Or should we call the police to take you away?
At the twins' pressure, Nancy exclaimed, "You must be joking," and fled. The factory workers applauded that Wynn's courage and maturity. You've grown up so much.
Oh well.
We'll make sure to repay all the kindness we've received.
At this, John's face looked like he was about to cry. He had protected and raised the twins like their father, stepping in for Michael. That's why he was probably as moved as I was.
Oh, number John.
Don't cry, it's embarrassing.
I'm not crying yet.
At John's response, laughter erupted once more. It was a warm and happy scene. Watching them, I too couldn't help but smile broadly. A few days after these events unfolded.
By the way, that woman who was lamenting about being our mother was apparently arrested.
I heard too. She tried to approach us again, and the police found her location.
Oh dear. Listening to the twins talk about Nancy. Afterwards, it was revealed that she was an accomplice of her boyfriend, and she was apparently arrested by the police. While she had made it seem as if only her boyfriend was the fraudster, Nancy was also involved. She was engaged in a scheme similar to a honey trap, and the police were after her.
Thanks to everyone at the factory acting that day, there were many witnesses.
It was easy for the police to find her.
The incident was reported by someone who witnessed the events of that day, leading to a detailed investigation and resulting in Nancy being sent to prison. She won't be out for a long time. That's good. With the police handling it, we can focus on the shooting.
That's right.
Definitely watch us, Grandma.
What's more, she could do this. She might claim to be the mother of the beautiful twins once she's released. However, that will only backfire on her. Of course, I'll watch. It's your crowning achievement. The project they were filming was about their life story. Losing their father at 5, abandoned by their mother, and raised by the factory workers where their grandmother worked. Their journey from that adversity to success would be depicted. Thus, the more Nancy claimed to be their mother, the more she would be despised by those around her. She brought it upon herself. Let her thoroughly experience the hell she's created.
That's right. And with the broadcast, the factory will gain even more popularity.
We'll need John to work harder.
Currently, John, who took over after Michael, is managing the factory.
I will protect everything.
He said this and continues to protect us even now. We decided to express our gratitude to him together, smiling at the FOD. The drama, once aired, became a massive hit. People sympathized with that Wynn's situation and loathed the mother's character.
Some zealous fans dug up information on Nancy, even discovering she's in prison.
Oh dear, hell awaits her upon release. No one will be there for her. Her infamous boyfriend is serving a long sentence for multiple frauds and is unlikely to welcome her back. Regarding her family, it turns out that after the incident 15 years ago, they were investigated and confronted. Nancy's parents had disowned her long before, and they were completely unaware of her current situation.
She was disowned for being too wicked and causing trouble for the family. If only she had learned her lesson back then.
Indeed. Therefore, no relatives would be there to receive her. She will likely spend her future alone, continually regretting her actions.
I feel like we've finally gotten revenge,
John remarked, a weight lifted off his shoulders. He had acted thoughtfully for us, fiercely guarding the factory. That's why the twins have come to adore John as their father. Thank you for everything. At my words, John gave a shy smile.
I have something to discuss with you, Susan.
What's up?
I'm thinking of leaving the factory.
I wasn't particularly surprised by his words. I was concerned about it, especially since I heard he was handing over various responsibilities to younger employees.
The twins have achieved their dreams, and I've left the factory in reliable hands. Now it's time for me to pursue my own dream.
If that's your decision, I won't object. Thank you for everything, I said with a smile, prompting a happy grin from John.
Then first, would you go on a trip with me?
Really?
I've always dreamed of going on a trip with my family,
John asked with a childlike smile. I stared at his smiling face for a few seconds, then nodded with a smile of my own. If it's with family, we have to invite the twins too.
Yes, we need to choose a place where everyone can relax.
After a while, the four of us went on a trip. During the trip, that Wins and I gave John a surprise gift, and when he finally broke down in tears, we all burst into laughter. It's been 15 years since you've been gone. I wonder if you and your dad are getting along well there. I mused at the graves of my husband and Michael. The time when I will join the two of them may not be far off, or it could still be a long way away. The children have grown up and achieved their dreams. Following that drama, Maria became an even more popular idol. She is scheduled to go on a nationwide tour soon. Millie received an offer to act in an international movie and had traveled abroad. Michael, John has avenged you properly. After leaving the factory, John has been enjoying his passion for travel. Everyone has achieved their dreams. So, don't worry, just wait for me to join you there, whenever that time comes. Saying this, I stood up. I wonder what I should do next. I decided to live life to the fullest until my days come to an end. I believe that will be my way of repaying the kindness I've received. Right. Today is the day Millie is supposed to call me. I better get back and prepare, I murmured, starting to walk back.
Hi, Grandma.
Maria, aren't you in the middle of your national tour?
I was nearby and wanted to see you, and I want to join the video call with Millie.
Maria said this with a lovely smile. I'm sure Millie would have the same smile. With their smiling faces as my support, I will keep on living my life today.
Amy, thanks for taking care of my daughter over the past month. I'll come to pick her up tomorrow.
What are you talking about? Having been on a trip for a month, my sister-in-law, Sue, still seemed to be at the station, as I could hear the train transfer announcements over the phone. In contrast to my calm reply, she started to panic.
Wait, what? What are you saying? She's supposed to be with you, right? I left Mia in your apartment's garage, after all.
Mia, her daughter, is my niece. I haven't seen her. What are you talking about?
Stop playing dumb. I sent you a message, so you must know.
I didn't get any message.
No, that can't be. That's impossible.
Sue, apparently panicked, screamed over the phone.
What are you going to do about this? I left Mia in your care. If anything happens, it's on you.
After hanging up once, Sue tried calling Mia's kid's smartphone, but couldn't get through, and was still panicking. When she called me back, yelling even more, I suggested she should head home first.
That's true. Nice.
After she hung up, she immediately went home, only to find me, John, and Mia, the three of us together. Sue seemed puzzled, her mouth opening and closing as if to say, "Why are all three of you together?"
Sue, I've just heard everything from these two.
What?
At John's words, she turned pale. My name is Amy Smith. Until a few years ago, I worked a regular job. At 40, I decided to go independent and started working as a freelance illustrator. Since my income increased, I now live alone in an apartment. I basically work from home and rarely leave the house, mainly for occasional shopping or meetings with clients. I'm not married and don't have a boyfriend, but I'm satisfied with my life. Although my friends ask if I'm lonely, I've never really thought about it. I'm more fulfilled by my work and have no plans to look for a partner in the future. I'm just a little concerned about retirement, but sometimes I surprise myself by being rather optimistic, considering I tend to take things as they come. Today, after meeting a deadline for an illustration, I took a break at 3 p.m. and glanced at the calendar. I suddenly realized my brother's birthday was coming up soon. My brother, John, 5 years my senior, works as a salesperson at a major publishing company and often goes on long business trips. Sometimes, he brings souvenirs from his assignments. Last month, he casually dropped by and brought some rice crackers as a souvenir, so I invited him up for tea, and we enjoyed the crackers together. I keep telling you, it's fine for me. You should buy more for Sue and Mia.
But I have to see Amy once in a while, too. I'd hate for something to happen to you.
John has always been like this, caring and considerate, which are some of his best qualities. Sue and Mia are John's wife and daughter, making them my sister-in-law and niece, respectively. I haven't told John, but I find Sue a bit difficult to deal with. She's very bright, always sporting fashionable nails and trendy clothes, giving off a vibrant impression. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and it doesn't bother me too much, but she often looks down on me for being single. During a family gathering at New Year's, she burst into laughter when she found out I didn't have a spouse or even a boyfriend.
Hey, you're always so young and beautiful. Thinking of putting off marriage, huh? Ever heard of missing your marriage window?
Well, I think marriage and relationships are up to each person's values. It's not like you must have a partner. I replied. Sue laughed again at that. I couldn't tell if it was the alcohol or what, but it became tiring to deal with her constant teasing about the same thing. When choosing my apartment for living alone, being far from my brother's family was a must, as I was fed up with her. However, I got along well with my niece, Mia. Mia, who turns 10 this year, apparently goes to school carrying a cute light blue backpack. I've never actually seen her in it, but she told me about it when she came over to my place to play.
Amy, you're so good at drawing.
Mia, watching me work on my illustrations, was admiring the artwork on the computer screen with excitement.
I wish I could draw too. Ooh.
Oh, wanna try?
Can I?
Yay, there's still plenty of time before the deadline, so you can give it a shot for a bit. Mia sat in front of the computer and began moving the pen with delight. The drawing she made on the screen that day was of her light blue backpack. She had also mentioned how it was heavy because she had to carry her tablet device in it. Even with a water bottle, which would make it even heavier in the summer, she's so small yet manages it all. I'm truly impressed. Mia told me that her mom, Sue, was a stay-at-home mom, and when John was away on business trips, she would do whatever she wanted. For dinner or lunch on school holidays, they would just buy pre-made meals from gas stations or supermarkets.
Me does the laundry most of the time, and Mom only does it occasionally.
Really?
Yeah. And, Mom gets really mad just because my shoes are muddy from gym class.
Why, what does your mom do at home?
She's always on her smartphone or watching TV.
Mia would stay in her room or go out to the park or library to avoid upsetting her mom. That makes me wonder about her parenting, but I wasn't sure if it was my place to say anything. There was another time when the family got together, and I saw Sue scolding Mia harshly for something minor, like spilling tea, which could easily be wiped up with a cloth. I thought it wasn't something to get so angry about.
Mom is scary. She gets mad no matter what I say. I can't say anything.
As she left that day after drawing the light blue backpack, her offhand remark lingered in my mind like a splinter, refusing to fade away. I remembered that she was left with me because Sue was going on a day trip with some mom friends over a weekend with nice weather. I never imagined that a similar message would arrive on my smartphone just a few days later. It was around the time when the foliage in the nearby park had fully turned red, and the chilly weather started to make us crave the warmth of the sun. When I returned to my apartment after running a quick errand, I saw a girl standing alone by the parking lot. Seeing her with the light blue backpack on, her face half hidden by a mask but still somehow familiar, took me aback. Mia. When I called out to her, her anxious eyes looked back at me. It was indeed Mia. What are you doing here alone? and what's with the luggage? Next to her was a small suitcase, making it seem as if she had run away from home.
My mom said to go to Amy's house.
Seeing the question marks over my head, Mia pointed at my bag, implying something about my phone. Could there be a message on my smartphone? I hurriedly pulled out my smartphone from my bag, and there was indeed a message from Sue, sent just a while ago.
Amy, sorry for this sudden notice. I'm going on a trip with a friend for a month starting today. Please take care of my daughter.
As I finished reading, an unintelligible exclamation escaped my lips, but I quickly closed my mouth. Of course, I was confused, but so was Mia, so I decided to bring her into my apartment first. Once inside and her mask removed, her cheeks were as red as apples, and her hands were very cold. I made her some hot cocoa to warm up and offered her some snacks at my home while listening to her story. Mia had been drawing in her notebook until just before. According to her, Sue barged into her room without knocking, handed her a suitcase, and said,
Mia, you're going to Amy's house now. Get ready. Mom won't be home for a month, so make sure you bring your backpack with you. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And so, Mia packed her notebook, pencil case, textbooks, and tablet into her backpack and hurriedly got ready. Meanwhile, Sue was on the phone, seemingly very excited.
Really? That's awesome. Hey, are you already drinking? That's too early.
Sue's voice apparently echoed through the house with high spirits. From downstairs, Mia heard a laughter that was different from her mother's usual one, and she ended up covering her ears. After the phone call ended, Sue's usual voice returned, and then Mia was driven to that place and left behind with the luggage. When Mia got out of the car, she was told, "Stay here and be a good girl for Amy for a month," and she waited for me under the cold sky. Despite the sunshine, it was quite a chilly season. I couldn't help but feel angry when I thought about what Sue would do if Mia caught a cold. Wait, does Dad know about this?
I don't think so. Mom doesn't really keep in touch with him much.
While munching on chocolate cookies, she said, "It was cute how cookie crumbs were stuck on her cheek." Feeling it was wrong not to inform my brother John about the situation, I decided to call him later.
Hey, Amy. I don't want to be with Mom anymore.
Suddenly, Mia said this while staring at the rim of her juice glass. The girl who had been happily eating cookies just moments ago now had a troubled expression, uncharacteristic for a 10-year-old girl. Why?
Because Mom gets angry easily, throws trash cans, and I hate it.
Throw trash cans.
We haven't done anything wrong, but she keeps telling me to get away or get lost and throwing them at me. Even if I tell the school teacher, they won't believe me. I'm so done with this.
Tears started rolling down her cheeks, big and heavy. It must have been very hard for her, as she cried uncontrollably for a while, and I just waited, patting her back and offering tissues until she calmed down. Clearly, the situation was not normal. Convinced of this, I decided to call John to see if he could come back and help. Stepping away for a moment, I brainstormed how to explain the situation to him, away from Mia's sight. Then, an idea came to me. All right, this could work. I murmured softly and made a phone call to John.
Wait, Mia. Yeah. What happened?
As I explained the situation, John seemed quite shaken. His voice was trembling slightly. At first, he tried to joke about it, saying things like "what a joke" or "not funny," but it seemed like he believed what I was saying was true, and in the end, he listened to me seriously. When I shared my plan with him, John agreed and promised to adjust his work and vacation to help out. All right, thanks. Count on me to look after Mia. I hung up, then proceeded to delete the message from Sue on my smartphone. Glancing towards the living room, wondering if Mia had calmed down, I tiptoed back. Tonight, I decided to splurge a little and treat her to something delicious. Thinking this, I made my way back, step by step. Mia's school is a bit far from here, but I managed to explain the situation to the school and arranged for her to take the bus. Then, carrying the heavy backpack with her tablet in it might become a bit easier for her. Planning to bill John for the bus pass later, I spent my days working from home as usual. Mia didn't have after-school activities or daycare, so she would come home and do her homework.
Amy, can you check my work?
I was surprised. I thought that was a teacher's job, but according to Mia, it was different.
All my classmates have their moms checked. Me always did it myself.
Realizing how self-centered Sue had been, I picked up a red pen. After checking her homework, it was time to start preparing dinner. When I stood in the kitchen, Mia followed and pleaded with her eyes, "I want to help. Today we're making meatloaf, so could you start by peeling the onions?"
Sure.
Mia peeled the onions faster than I expected and followed every cooking instruction flawlessly. I wondered if she had learned this somewhere, but there was no time to ask as dinner was ready before I knew it. Days like these repeated, and before we knew it, a month had flown by. Looking at the calendar, I anticipated Sue's call, and sure enough, it came.
Amy, thanks for taking care of my daughter over the past month. I'll come to pick her up tomorrow.
What are you talking about? I replied calmly. Sue, having been on a trip for a month, still seemed to be at the station, as I could hear the train announcements over the phone.
Wait, what? What are you saying? She's supposed to be with you, right? Because I left Mia at your apartment, so you should know.
I haven't seen her. What are you talking about?
Stop playing dumb. I sent you a message, so you must know.
I didn't get any message. Are you sure you didn't mix up the number?
No, that can't be. That's impossible.
Sue, apparently panicked, screamed over the phone.
What are you going to do about this? I left Mia in your care. If anything happens, it's on you. I'll call her too.
With a shrill voice full of anger, she abruptly hung up the phone. After a while, there was another call, and Sue was yelling again. It seems she tried calling Mia's kid's smartphone, but couldn't get through, and was still panicking. Sue, why don't you go home first and calm down?
That's true. Nice, I'm going home now.
After that, I could hear Sue arguing with another person, seemingly a man, although the conversation was too faint to understand. The room fell silent once again, as quiet as the calm before the storm. Eventually, Sue got home and came rushing down the hallway, her footsteps echoing loudly. As she entered the living room, her face, wild with disarray, turned pale upon seeing me, John, and Mia together. Sue seemed shocked, her mouth opening and closing as if to say, "Why are all three of you together?" without making a sound.
I've just heard everything from these two, Sue, and we heard the earlier phone call too.
What?
We put the phone on speaker so we could all listen. It makes it easier to discuss what happens next. By the way, Mia's smartphone was turned off, so it was natural that Sue couldn't reach her.
What have you done?
That's my line. I said I didn't know, but the truth is that I've been taking care of Mia here for a month. What's with this sudden trip and leaving her stranded in front of someone else's house?
I sent you a message.
That's not the point. John carefully chose his words and spoke calmly.
Let's stay calm, everyone. Mia's here too. So, Sue, it's true you left Mia and went on a trip by herself, and you just got back, looking at your outfit and luggage.
Sue was dressed in a warm coat and seemed ready for an outing. Her suitcase bulged, presumably with souvenirs and new clothes. She didn't deny it, but started making excuses.
I did go on a trip. I needed a break from being a housewife. The daily routine of laundry and cooking. It's all so repetitive and stressful. Going out with friends should be allowed.
Is that friend the person in these emails? I presented several sheets of paper. They contained email exchanges with what seemed to be Sue's affair partner, discussing travel plans. The emails weren't just recent, they dated back till last spring, including the day I watched Mia for a day, when she went flower viewing with this person. The supposed day trip with mom friends was a blatant lie. Sue covered her mouth, as if admitting guilt. Actually, a few hours before Sue arrived, I had searched her computer at Mia's request and found these emails as evidence. Mia had noticed her mom frequently on her smartphone, messaging someone she suspected wasn't her dad. Her suspicions turned into certainty when she saw a message from an unknown man on the phone of her mom, who was asleep in the living room at the time. Also, the voice of the person her mom was talking to on the phone was occasionally audible for Mia, but it wasn't her dad's voice. Mia had told me 6 months ago that she thought her mom was having an affair. I was skeptical until I checked the computer just now and realized Mia's hunch was correct. John, trying to stay calm, was visibly shaking.
How could you do this? Trusting you, and you leave Mia with Amy to go off on an affair.
John approached Sue, his hands trembling.
It's a misunderstanding. I was forced to go on that trip.
What forced you to leave for a month? Come up with something better.
I was threatened, believe me, Mia, you believe me, sweetie.
Suddenly turned to Mia calmly and plainly responded.
Mom, you were so happy on the phone before you left. And you made me do all the cooking and cleaning while you just slept.
Mia glared at Sue, seizing the moment.
And you told me not to stay up late but went out in the middle of the night and came back in the morning to sleep on the floor. You were always contradicting yourself.
Hearing this, John pressed on.
Going out in the middle of the night means you were out partying.
No, that's not it, Mia. Be quiet.
I quickly showed John the photos on my smartphone. The photo captured Sue's back as she left the house late at night, dressed flamboyantly. This was taken a few months ago when Mia contacted me, and I happened to be nearby. I was shocked too. Where were you going at that time, Sue?
No, my.
Cornered by the photo, she seemed to give up and slumped to the ground.
I can't believe this. I can't leave Mia with you anymore. Let's get a divorce. I'll be asking for alimony, too. From now on, you can do as you please with that man.
John said this with a heavy heart, and then turned his back on Sue.
A divorce? You're kidding, right? Don't you think it's sad for Mia to not have her mother? What about you, Mia? Help me out here.
No. Absolutely not. Amy is more like a mom to me.
I felt incredibly embarrassed for her, as an adult, to be pleading with her own child like that. Mia brushed off Sue like that. During the time Mia stayed with me, I made sure to spend as much time with her as possible, talking about school, hobbies, and her dreams for the future. Of course, cooking together was one of those activities. Don't worry, Sue, I'll make sure Mia is happy, I said with a smile, and Sue just slumped further, saying nothing more. Half a year later, the divorce between her and John went through, and custody was granted to John. Sue was taken back to her hometown by her parents. The man she had an affair with, whom she met online, disappeared as soon as he found out about the divorce, ending their communication. It was already too late when Sue realized she had been played. She was left with a hefty sum of alimony and child support payments, which she couldn't afford with her savings alone, relying on her parents to cover more than half. After that, her parents kept a close watch on her, and she wasn't allowed to go out late at night anymore. Furthermore, the gossip about her not taking her daughter with her after the divorce spread in her hometown, making her reluctant to leave her house. Still, she'll have to return to the workforce eventually, but what happens next is unknown to me, John, or Mia. John and Mia decided to rent out their house and moved to a different floor in the same apartment building I live in. John plans to use the rental income to pay off the loan and save for Mia. I began visiting them almost daily. John, regretting not being there for Mia and focusing too much on work, decided to change jobs. Transitioning to a new career in your 40s can be quite challenging, but he originally had excellent sales performance and strong communication skills, to the extent that he could have held some position of authority. Therefore, his job search didn't drag on for too long. It took about 6 months, during which he received job offers from 2 or 3 companies, and eventually started working for one of them. I was surprised to learn of his capabilities, that's for sure. It seems that he preferred field sales during his time at the previous company, and had been gently declining any discussions about promotions.
I didn't want to stay on the same floor of the same company all the time.
For that reason, but your new job is fully remote, right?
Yeah, but it's interesting to talk to different people. Plus, being with Mia is the most important thing.
Mia is still attending school with her light blue backpack on her back. Moving meant she had to change schools, which was sad for her, but she seemed to quickly adapt and enjoy her new school life. Mia, have you gotten used to your new school yet? While we were making dinner together, I asked Mia, and she giggled.
Yeah. I made a friend in the class next door.
Already, that was quick. Mia nodded shyly.
Yeah. We're going to make meatloaf at her house next time.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Seeing her smile so brightly made me smile too. Her dream is to open a Western-style restaurant one day. Considering she's only 10, it's impressive she has such a solid dream. She told me why.
My friend, like me, doesn't have a mom who cooks for her, so she makes her own meals. She said she wants to cook for people who don't have anyone to make meals for them, just like us.
I see.
I think it would be nice if I could do that too. That's why I'm practicing making meatloaf.
Her innocent smile stirred a complex emotion in me, but I quickly put on a smile and said, "That's great. Mia's meatloaf is delicious. I want lots of people to try it."
Thank you.
She looks so brave and radiant, facing forward like this. Her dream won't end as mere fantasy or delusion. I'm eagerly looking forward to the day Mia grows up and opens her restaurant.
I'm sorry, it's my fault.
While taking a drive, an accident caused by my husband's mistake left me in a coma. He vanished from this world, leaving a suicide note in my hand. Why did you leave me behind? I was so shocked that I lost my will to live and even considered following him in death. But I've had to live on, not just for myself but for him as well. A year later, I saw an unexpected person on TV. It was my husband, who was supposed to have taken his own life. Incredibly, he was being called daddy by a child I didn't know, with a happy smile on his face. What's going on? After that, one shocking truth after another came to light. My name is Iris, 36 years old. Both of my parents have passed away, leaving only my younger sister, Olivia, who is 8 years my junior, and my husband, Mike. Olivia works for a company abroad, so I rarely see her. Mike had always dreamed of having children even before we were married. But I, who was unable to fulfill that dream for him, was struggling to find my value. This was because it turned out I had difficulty conceiving after we got married. Mike, I'm sorry we may not be able to have a child because of me.
We still have a chance. I'm always by your side. Let's work together and do our best. No worries, everything's gonna be alright for sure.
Yeah, you're right. We'll have a lively family, won't we? Mike encouraged me when I was about to give up. He was supportive in treatment, so I endured and worked hard inspiring myself. But that only lasted for the first year. Gradually, the unsuccessful treatments stressed us out, and we began to fight constantly. Why do I have to suffer this much alone? I don't know when we'll ever have a baby.
Iris, you've been doing great. Maybe we should take a break from the treatment for a change of pace.
Mike said kindly, trying to comfort me. But mentally pressured so much, I couldn't even accept it wholeheartedly. You wouldn't understand because you are a man. My feelings of sadness and agony were so intense that I couldn't stop them. What? If you have something to say it clearly. I looked at Mike with tears in my eyes, and his expression suddenly got grim.
It's not just you who's struggling. Don't think you're the only one having a hard time, even though you're the useless who can't have kids.
What? Suddenly spoken with his harsh words. I was bewildered and couldn't comprehend what he said for a moment.
Sorry. I went too far. I mean, it was just a tit-for-tat response.
He quickly apologized, but I couldn't help feeling sad, wondering if that was his true feeling. The next day, Mike went to work and didn't come back home for several days, and I couldn't even reach him. I was desperately worried and contacted acquaintances, but couldn't find where he was and spent sleepless nights. I didn't know what should I do. 3 days later,
I'm home.
Mike appeared with a smile. Where have you been? I've been so worried.
Sorry. What's for dinner tonight?
He acted as if nothing had happened, talking to me as usual without any explanation. Where on earth have you been and what have you been doing all this time?
I was just busy at work and stayed at the office. Can we just leave it at that?
You should have at least called me. I couldn't help raising my voice, and then I saw his expression change.
Stop interfering with everything I do. You're so annoying.
Suddenly, he pushed me hard and went to sleep without eating. He had never been rough with me before. It's awful. He's different from the Mike I knew. Shaken by his sudden change, I was paralyzed on the spot for a while. After that, Mike began coming home late, using work as an excuse, and started being out even on weekends, claiming he had to work. Wondering if he was having an affair, I called my sister Olivia, who works abroad, to talk about it. He's been coming home late, and he's barely ever at home.
Mike doesn't seem like the type to cheat. I think it's good he's working hard. If he's in good health, that is all that matters, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but
what's the problem then? My boyfriend is way worse, always lying, you know?
She seemed to try to make me laugh with making fun of herself. Talking to my straightforward sister made my problem seem less significant. Indeed, Mike wasn't the type to cheat, and when he was home, he helped with the chores. Our marriage was going pretty well, I thought. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive. Eventually, we didn't have a child, and before we knew it, 5 years of marriage had flown by. Gradually, Mike and I barely talked to each other, even when we were together. Feeling the need to bridge the invisible gap in our relationship and not leave things as they were, a good idea came to mind. How about we go out together sometime? Maybe see a movie or go shopping?
No way. I'd rather sleep at home than go out with you.
I thought changing the scenery or mood might increase our conversations, so I asked him out, but he turned it down. Yet, when it came to going out with his friends, he would get all excited, preparing eagerly, and went out having a spring in his step. Are we over as a couple? Where did we go wrong? While thinking this, there was one thing I kept pondering. It was about children. Turning 35, I also thought that, given my age, it might be my last chance to have children. Realizing nothing would change if I just sat back, I confronted Mike before he left for work. Can we try infertility treatment again for just 1 year? I need your help.
No way, impossible. I'm too busy with work and don't have time to deal with you.
My suggestion was outright dismissed without a second thought. But I couldn't just accept it and give up. I kept asking, changing my approach on another day.
Enough already. I'm telling you, I don't want a child with you anymore.
Never expecting he said like that. I felt as if everything went dark before me. He was the one who wanted children so much. There was so much I wanted to say, and it took a while to get over it, but I started to think that life as just the two of us wasn't so bad. Perhaps feeling guilty, Mike spoke to me a few days later.
It looks like nice weather tomorrow. How about we go for a drive? Any place you want to go, just name it.
Really? When was the last time we went out together? I'm looking forward to it. I was so happy, like a school kid before a field trip, and couldn't sleep much that night. Early next morning, I prepared a picnic lunch and dressed up a bit. We had a great time laughing and enjoying ourselves. But then Mike made a driving mistake, and my side of the car slammed into the guardrail. My memory stops there. When I slowly regained consciousness, I found myself in a hospital bed.
Iris, do you recognize me? It's Olivia.
My sister was calling out to me with tears in her eyes. Apparently, I had been in a coma for several weeks due to the accident caused by Mike. Olivia had been informed about the accident and had flown back from abroad to be by my side. At first, I could barely nod as speaking was difficult. Gradually, through rehabilitation, I managed to regain the ability to converse. During that time, there was something that continued to bother me. Mike, where is he? Can you contact him? I want to see him.
Well, I can't do that.
When I mentioned my husband's name, Olivia hesitated to speak, and I had a bad feeling. Is he in a worse state than me? Where is his hospital room? Take me there.
Well, I don't want to upset you, but when I got here, he was nowhere to be found, and you were holding his suicide note in your hand.
A suicide note? What do you mean? No. Olivia hugged and calmed me down as I broke down crying. After a while, she handed me a piece of paper.
I'm sorry because of my driving. I've caused you so much trouble. Forgive me.
Reading it, I was too confused to speak.
Mike has passed away, and his funeral has already been done.
I don't believe it. Just as I was able to sit up, I lost my will from the shock. But all I could think about while lying there was Mike. Mike, I'll be joining you soon. Wait for me. I was preoccupied with the thought of following in his death. But I knew that would only bring sorrow to Olivia. Reflecting on her, who came to visit me every day, I decided to live fully, not just for myself but also for my husband. Working hard on rehabilitation, I made a steady recovery and was scheduled to be discharged a month later. I wanted to visit my in-laws at least, but Olivia discouraged me from doing so.
I thought you'd say that, so I contacted them, but they don't want to see you. Maybe because he took his own life, they're still not over it.
I understood their pain and decided to wait until they felt better before trying to meet them. After I returned home, I managed to do things myself despite some difficulties, and Olivia continued to visit and support me even after my discharge.
Iris, I have a suggestion. Maybe moving to start anew could be good for you.
Why would you say that? Honestly, I'm a bit afraid. Taken aback by the unexpected suggestion, I spilled out my true feelings. But Olivia might have a point. The memories of Mike in this house were overwhelming, making it hard to move forward. Okay, I'll try it to start fresh. Despite feeling apprehensive, I decided to move to a neighboring state with a specialized rehabilitation hospital that Olivia recommended me. About 3.5 hours away from here by car. Olivia handled everything from the move to the paperwork because I couldn't move well yet. I'm so glad to have her. Starting anew in an unfamiliar place. A year had passed since the accident. By then, I could almost move as well as before, thanks to the rehabilitation. After moving, I started working at a new company where my colleague Adam was very kind to me, allowing me to spend my days in peace. He was my mentor, but I was able to share my painful past with him. Adam had lost his wife in an accident as well, and perhaps we found common ground in our losses.
Iris, do you need anything? If you're missing something, I can buy it for you.
I'm fine now. Thank you for always making time to visit. Olivia would occasionally visit me, taking the time to drive over. Supported by everyone, I was grateful for being able to live on. After seeing I was doing well, Olivia returned to her job abroad, and 2 months had passed. While I was watching TV, I saw news of a new amusement park opening in the state I used to live in. Oh, maybe I'll invite Olivia to go there next time. As I watched, an unexpected figure appeared on the screen.
The amusement park is so much fun. I'm so happy to come with Mommy and Daddy.
Yes, having a family is wonderful.
A father and a boy around 4 years old were being interviewed, both laughing happily. That father was my husband, who was supposed to have taken his own life. What? How can this be? But he was supposed to be. Unable to tear my eyes from the TV, something even more astonishing caught my attention. Unable to resist confirming it, I acted before thinking and made a phone call.
Hello, what's up?
Hey, Mike passed away, right?
What are you talking about now? Are you okay?
Never mind. Sorry to bother you when you're busy. Talk to you later. During the call with my sister, a sound caught my ear, compelling me to investigate further, leading me to a shocking discovery. How can this be? Overwhelmed and unsure of what to do, I couldn't bear it alone anymore and turned to Adam for advice.
If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know.
Adam, who was tech-savvy, offered his support and started looking into the matter online after hearing my story. Driven to uncover more truth, I spent all my savings to hire a detective. Weeks later, revelations about things I was unaware of emerged, stirring anger and astonishment in me. I won't let this go. I'll get to the bottom of this. A month after seeing the amusement park news on TV, I visited an apartment. The woman who answered the doorbell, seeing my face, expressed surprise.
Huh? What are you doing here? Did I tell you I was back?
I didn't hear, but is it bad that I came?
No, it's not that. It's just the place is a mess because I haven't unpacked yet.
Olivia, seemingly flustered, was reluctant to let me in.
If it's not urgent, can we perhaps do this another time? I just got back yesterday and am still jet-lagged.
While she appeared sleepy, sounds of footsteps came from behind her.
Mommy, I want some snacks. I'm hungry.
It was the boy who had appeared in the interview with my husband a month ago. He came running energetically, but upon seeing my face, he shyly hid behind Olivia. Mom, are you married? When did you have a child?
Well, it's complicated. I missed the timing to tell you.
She was clearly panicking, with sweat rolling down her forehead. Pretending not to notice her distress, I placed a hand on her shoulder. I need to talk about something important, so can we go inside? It's not something the child should hear. Can someone look after him? When I asked earnestly, Olivia seemed to sense something and took out her smartphone to make a call to someone.
A mom friend nearby can take care of him. I'll go drop him off. Just wait here.
She then fetched a small backpack and jacket for the child and left with him. So Olivia really is that child's mother. While feeling bewildered by seeing my sister Olivia in a maternal role that I had never witnessed before, various thoughts raced through my mind. After a while, Olivia returned and reluctantly let me into the apartment.
What's this important talk about? Just tell me what you need.
Seemingly eager to get rid of me, she asked abruptly, without even offering coffee. The topic wasn't something I could easily discuss, so instead of answering, I questioned her. When did you get married? Did you have a wedding?
I can't remember. I forgot.
Her face contorted, and it seemed she was trying to laugh it off, attempting to hide the truth. No matter what I asked, she kept saying, I can remember. Impatient with the lack of progress, I changed the subject to move the conversation forward. What's the name of the child from earlier?
His name is Walker.
He looks about 4 years old, right? That was when I was struggling to have children. Did you keep it from me out of consideration?
Yeah, that's actually true. Sorry for not telling you.
Olivia seemed relieved, regaining some composure. However, when I mentioned knowing she had been in the States all along, she firmly denied it. That's strange. When I called you a month ago, I heard an English train station announcement in the background. Even with my assertion, Olivia shook her head, insisting it was my mishearing, though her expression tensed and she bit her lower lip. All right, it's time to press on. I took a deep breath and locked eyes with Olivia. The day I called you, news of the new amusement park was airing, and I saw Walker and my supposedly deceased husband there, as father and son. Olivia gasped and frantically denied it. You were also caught on camera, weren't you? Upon hearing my remark, she quickly averted her eyes and fell silent. Without giving her a chance to speak, I told her what I had learned from the detective. Olivia had given birth to Walker 4 years ago. At that time, she was an unmarried mother, but a year ago, she got married my husband, who was supposed to have passed away. It's time for you to explain what's going on. When I showed her the investigation report from the detective, she glanced at it and furrowed her brow.
That's a mistake. It's someone else. Don't make strange jokes without proof.
Even at this point, she tried to feign ignorance, which annoyed me. But when I requested his death certificate, I couldn't confirm Mike's death, and it appears that I supposedly divorced him, you know? Olivia handled all the government paperwork, so I was clueless about the details. After seeing that news broadcast, I had a hunch and claimed the certification to obtain and check the truth. That was the incontrovertible proof. It confirmed that Mike was alive. Pressed by my relentless questioning, Olivia was flustered, making excuses. I told her to call Mike to come here immediately. Confronted relentlessly by me, Olivia, flustered and fumbling for excuses, eventually called Mike at my insistence.
He said he's shopping and will be back soon.
Though we both must have had plenty to say, the room remained silent except for the ticking of the clock's second hand. The silence was broken by Mike's return.
I'm home. Why the rush to get me back?
Well, it's...
Wait, where's Walker? Why is Iris here?
Seeing me, he panicked and attempted to flee. Wait, don't look at me as if you've seen a ghost. That's sad.
Gah.
Frustrated and without an outlet for his emotions, Mike dragged Olivia to a corner of the room and shouted,
Why didn't you tell me she was here? Don't mess around.
I'm sorry, but...
While Mike raged on one-sidedly, I stood in front of him with a smile. I never thought I'd see you again.
Yeah, right.
Realizing I had discovered he was alive, he must have been very panicked. He had shifty eyes. You were married to me, yet you cheated with Olivia and even had a child. What's the meaning of this?
Wait a minute. There's no proof of that, right? Who said the child is mine?
This is irrefutable evidence. I confronted him, who had been in full denial, with a document.
What is this?
It was a DNA test result. It was written that Mike and Walker were confirmed to have a father-child relationship.
It must be fake, right? You just made this up with some online search.
No, it's real. I had sent for testing his hair from a comb I kept as his memento and Walker's hair obtained by the detective.
Hiring someone for this. That's creepy. You always had that streak.
Don't change the subject. Explain this. I confronted him as he tried to feign ignorance and change the subject. Then, suddenly, he clutched his head and crouched down.
My head hurts. I get confused when I try to recall the past all of a sudden.
Really? That must be tough. Are you okay? As I showed concern, he smirked and became oddly talkative.
Actually, I hit my head in that accident and got amnesia. I've been remembering bits, but some parts are still missing.
Wow, that's some convenient amnesia. You remember everything, don't you? I pulled out my smartphone and showed him something.
Why do you know about this?
It was his social media account he had maintained for years. I wasn't aware of it, but Adam had looked into it for me. It was filled with posts since Walker's birth, including details about the accident. It says that the car was totaled, but you only got a scrape on your arm. He seemed unable to respond, his hands clenched into fists, trembling visibly. Then, he suddenly laughed and approached me.
Since you can't have a child, you're useless, so I can have them wherever I want, can't I?
How can you say such things after what you did?
Come on, it's fine. Besides, Olivia is the one involved, so Walker is related to you too.
Faced with his despicable remarks, I felt my anger gradually building up.
Right, Olivia. It's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. I gave him the child he wanted, so I should be praised for that.
Mike and Olivia threw their harsh words at me with confidence, then casually shared how they got together. While Olivia was struggling with work, Mike, coincidentally on the same train home, lent a sympathetic ear, leading to an affair and Olivia's pregnancy.
I thought I'd never have my own child, but then Olivia got pregnant. Quite different from defective you, right?
Mike, who had wanted children, was thrilled, and Olivia, accepting this, gave birth in secret without telling me. Moreover, Olivia lied about working abroad to hide her pregnancy and childbirth for a while. Mike also lied to me about work, delaying his return home or going out, visiting Olivia and Walker. Then you should have divorced me. What's the point of keeping our marriage while doing this behind my back?
Well, if I divorced you, it would look like I left because you couldn't have kids. That would ruin my image.
I was appalled at the thought of him leading a double life for the sake of appearances. Without finding it strange, Olivia said,
"It was hard keeping it secret. Be grateful."
Hearing this, I felt a deep sadness, betrayed by my own family. I will never forgive them. No mercy. I took a deep breath and glared at them again. The accident wasn't just a driving mistake by Mike, was it? You planned it intentionally, right?
What? Are you accusing me of being the culprit?
He furrowed his brow and glared fiercely. Probably trying to intimidate me, but I was not daunted by this at all. I went to the police, and they said there were no skid marks at the accident scene like someone had braked in panic.
So what?
It seems it was processed as an accident anyway.
Stop making these weird accusations. It's getting annoying being treated like a criminal.
Though Mike spoke those words, his voice gradually lost its force, and he fell silent. Moreover, his gaze was unsettled, showing his lack of composure. I asked for a Ray investigation, and they agreed to do it.
This is nonsense. Stop causing unnecessary trouble.
When I pressed if an investigation would be problematic for him, Mike slowly began to confess.
You are just too tenacious. I thought that accident would lead to you die, and the insurance would pay out. Then I wouldn't have had to lie.
You are truly despicable.
I don't want to hear it from you. Because of you, I had to change jobs, and now I'm slaving away at a low-paying company.
It's just because of you? His figure, blaming everything on me and continuing to yell, was so ridiculous that I could only sigh. Why didn't you tell me the truth, Olivia? Why did you keep silent? After a long silence, when she looked up, she was grinning from ear to ear. What's so funny? As I looked on her in wonder, she burst into laughter, holding her stomach as if it was the funniest thing. Then, she looked down at me, who were astounded, with a gaze of disdain.
After everything was taken by me and almost killed by your husband, that's just pathetic, isn't it? What a pitiful woman.
Olivia taunted, throwing harsh words at me. When I asked why she had cared for me if she looked down on me so much, Olivia's demeanor suddenly changed to seriousness.
I had to care to cover up my involvement in planning the car accident.
I was shocked, having thought it was Mike's solo act. It's horrible. You looked after me just to cover yourself. Her suggestion to move away probably aimed to distance me.
Exactly. Plus, I was tired of playing the caring sister.
Believing in Olivia's kindness as genuine, I was devastated to learn of her betrayal, and the tears I had been holding back just wouldn't stop.
We were happy until you showed up. You just bring everyone down.
Enjoy speaking like that while you can. I'm going to sue you for adultery.
What are you talking about? I don't have any money, and we're already divorced. I don't owe you anything.
Mike retorted with a smug, self-assured demeanor, as if he believed he was entirely in the right. Adultery during our marriage allows me to claim alimony even after divorce.
What? Are you serious?
And I will tell the police everything. You might only be able to laugh for now.
Wait, please. I'm begging you. Keep it quiet with the police.
He changed his demeanor, now pleading desperately.
Right? Don't destroy your happiness. It's all in the past, isn't it? Iris, please.
Olivia also begged, saying whatever suited her. After you wrecked my life, don't just say whatever you want. You should regret what you've done. I pushed them both away firmly and showed them the screen where I was on a call with Adam. They surely hadn't expected that their conversation was being overheard.
We're over now.
Olivia collapsed to her knees, and Mike stood frozen, powerless. After going to the police and discussing the matter, the accident was reopened for investigation. Mike confessed during questioning and was arrested. Olivia, who had planned it all, faced serious charges. They will likely spend some time behind bars. Furthermore, I claimed $30,000 in compensation for adultery from Mike and $10,000 from Olivia. For emotional damages, I demanded $50,000 from Mike and $20,000 from Olivia. Once they are released, I will have them make the payments. I couldn't forgive Olivia and decided to cut ties with her. Just when I thought I was utterly alone, Adam, who had helped me through this, unexpectedly confessed his feelings. I wasn't ready for a romantic relationship yet, so we decided to start as friends. I'm hoping to move forward at my own pace.